Good evening again, folks. We want to welcome everyone to another edition of MLC Talk. That's my Lutheran Connections uh, online TV. And our premier program is MLC Talk. So um, today we, on this Resurrection Sunday, he is raising. This is the reason why we as Christians can, stand boldly here and show the empty tomb. That we have evidence that our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ is alive. He is raising. The tomb is empty. So on this Resurrection Sunday, we want to wish everyone happy Easter. Yes, Ambassador, you are there in Freetown, Sierra Leone. How are you doing? How is the Easter going?
Thank you so much, Willie. And I want to begin by apologizing for the last Sunday. We had a very terrible network. I just pray and hope that the network remains steady today. And I also want to extend happy Easter to you, your family, and our guests and his family, as well as our entire viewing public. Want to say that this is the
Yes,
the MLC. Sorry, I'm trying to get my tongue twisted
that's
and get
right.
this right.
We're
The
all trying to
MLC
get
talk.
ourselves acclimated to the new name.
Definitely. The premier platform that discusses everything Lutheran. And I want to
Yes,
say that we are here again with another fascinating topic, a topic that brings under the spotlight the St. Peter's Lutheran High School, one of our best secondary school we got in the Lutheran Church in Liberia and in Liberia as a whole. Today we are going to play host to the
yes,
chairperson of the board, brother Arthur Loryoun. I hope I get that well. Brother Loryoun will share some light as it relates to the topic: how well is the St. Peter's Lutheran High School doing? We understand that we have been
yes,
going from sector to sectors. We were with the men, and last Sunday we discussed environmental issue. Today, now we are coming back to the educational sector of the Lutheran Church in Liberia. And the Lutheran, St. Peter's Lutheran High School is one of those institutions that the MLC Talk have decided to bring under the spotlight. So I want to welcome our guest, Brother Arthur. Sorry if I mispronounced the last name. I will try to get adjusted to
So,
that.
so,
But we want to
so,
say
Jerry,
most welcome.
I want to assume that you are a Pele man. That name is a typical Pele, which means Loryoun. It's Arthur Loryoun. So I will hold you in contempt if you don't call it the right way. So I'm letting you know that that name is Loryoun, Arthur Loryoun. So thank you. No problem.
All
I
right.
like that. I like that because
Thank you.
they always
Thank,
get on me for pronouncing Menikwere, you know. So
Yeah.
go ahead. Hello, Ambassador. The boys in your coat
thank
today.
you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Brother
Okay.
Arthur Loryoun, for the
Yeah.
correction, and I take that in good faith. And as I
Okay.
said, that I will make sure that I will not be held in contempt. I will try my best to pronounce it. But I think today you are
Okay.
making your debut on this platform. And so, who is
Yes.
Brother Arthur Loryoun? Who is Brother Loryoun?
So thank you. So let me start by saying my name is Arthur Loryoun, as you may have known by this time. I hail from Bon County, and I am a Lutheran. My parents brought me into this world knowing no other congregation or denomination other than the Lutheran Church. So I've been in the Lutheran Church from as far back as I can remember as a young boy. From way down the line from St. Peter's, but I don't want to take most of the time going in detail where I was born. But again, my father born me from Fairstone. He worked for Fairstone Hospital before, and he got retired and then took us back in Bon County in Wasusloma, Sota District, where he decided to do some farming, and then he passed out. That's 1984. And so since then, I've managed to come out as a young boy, and I ventured to, migrate into Mosorado County, where I pursued education, starting first from G.W. Gibson Junior High School, and then going to graduate from the William V. S. Tubman High School. I mean, the home of the carpenter. I'm so proud to be a man that was schooled through the William V. S. Tubman High School. And after completing the William V. S. Tubman High School for the 12th grade, I entered into the University of Liberia, the Science College, where I read biology, chemistry for about 3 semesters. And by that time, the School of Pharmacy of the University of Liberia was looking for students. So by the time I accumulated the grade points at that level, I then was allowed to enroll in the School of Pharmacy, University of Liberia. I graduated magna cum laude from the School of Pharmacy, University of Liberia, and after that, I have to go back and do some of the social sciences. I got master's degree in public administration. That's how far I've gone in terms of education. I have other some training, some certificate training. Just to let you know, by the time I was completing my internship from the JFK Hospital, I was spotted by the late Dr. Boningale, calling me to go and join the Phoebe Hospital when I was not even employed there. They offered me a stellar opportunity to go to Tanzania to do some short course training in intravenous production. That is the IV that I administer in the hospital. And I did that study, came back at the hospital. We set up a mini production factory right on the compound of the Phoebe Hospital. And I'm proud to have been part of that. I know many patients benefited from the production of the IV fluid at the hospital, which also sell the Zosom current Lutheran Hospital in Lofa County. We supply some of the products from that IV fluid factory. So after serving for about six years in the hospital, I felt that I have done my part in the rural service, and I came back to Monrovia, where I was spotted while in Bone County by an American-based organization, the Management Sciences for Health. Spotted me, looking at what I did from the hospital in the county, offered me a job, and that's how I resigned, asking that I was going for study leave, and at the same time pursuing my career at different levels. So I came back to Monrovia, and since then, and that was since 2012, I've been in the NGO cycle, working for USAID project, Global Fund project up to this point. And so that is it on my background in terms of my working experience. My family life, I'm very married, proud married man with a beautiful wife, Patience Loryoun. We have two kids, and I'm so proud of them. My daughter, Lilama Loryoun, and my son, Pato Iwakaya Loryoun. Those are my 2 kids with a wife. Of course, I have my junior boy who I got while in school, which is not strange to any of you guys on the platform today. Sometimes when you're in school, you cause some trouble and then you do that. So my junior boy is also called Awakaya Loryoun. So I have 3 kids, 2 boys and a daughter. And I enjoy my family. They look up to me for guardians, and that's just it. So just a little bit of myself. I will stop there. If you can ask more questions, I can tell you more. So thank you.
Wow.
Ambassador, I hope you're taking note of all those names, okay?
I'm telling you, I will remain with the Arthur Loryoun in the meantime, and Josiah, who just joined us, want to say welcome. He will be able to carry us through with all of the other pronunciation, but that is very good, typical African names, and they are very, very good. I hope that after the show, Brother Arthur Loryoun, you will be able to give me one real typical Pele name, so I can practice that. But I want to say thank you so much. We believe that you have a very rich background, and we want to apologize to our viewing public. Sorry, you cannot see our guest as a result of some technical issue, I think, with his gadget that he's using. And so you will get the audio, but you may not get the audio visual. But we hope that you will manage with this as we go through this important topic. And our lead host, Josiah Jokai, has joined us, but I think he will want me to continue with the line of questioning. Or Joe, you got something to say? What do you think?
Oh, go right ahead.
Yeah,
All
go
right.
ahead.
So I've been given the permission. You know, they got something to say. You got to make sure that you don't bypass your respect. Okay, so once I give you the permission, fine. But brother Arthur Loryoun, today we want to know from you, and the viewing public would like to know from you, how well is the St. Peter's Lutheran High School faring? Can you give us or share some light synopsis of how well that prestigious high school in the Lutheran Church in Liberia faring as a chairman of the board?
Thank you, Jared, and let me welcome my brother Josiah Joker, who for the first time he and I chatted, and then giving me the courage to appear on this platform. So I salute you, Josiah, and I'm glad to be with you this evening. So first, let me say this: I came into the picture of the St. Peter's Lutheran High School for the background that so years back when I was in school. I worked with the school as a registrar for the afternoon section, and having served there and in school, when the council, when Dalapokoya was coming into the picture to be parish council, he and I chatted. I said, look, I don't think I have the time now because of my present engagement. I may not have the time to be active as a council chair or member of the council, but I can support the council at the level of the school because I've had prior experience from the St. Peter's Lutheran High School, and it's academic is my passion. All right, some of us sit here are from a very poor background. None of my people in history have ever been where I am, my generation. So I'm the first to reach this level. So when it comes to education and in the academia, I have so much interest and I'm so passionate about the academic aspect of any situation in our life. So I offered my service, all right, to see how I could work with the council and other members of our church to make our St. Peter's Lutheran High School, if not the best, but one of the best around town. And so we offered, and then we, in 2020, we started on this journey to see how we can work with other people to improve on our school. So we inherited a school which in my mind, because of the many years that the school has been in existence, hoping that, things will be at this point better up. But again, I was quick to realize that, look, we've passed through many years of civil war. Systems were broken down, and people are just trying to put the broken pieces together and start again. So we didn't mind what level we saw the school, but we took on the challenge to work with other members of the parish and the Lutheran school system to work to improve the school. Now, for a school to be very effective and to serve the purpose, you must have a very strong administration. All right? Very strong, effective, and efficient administration. 2, you must have a very strong academic staff. All right? Academic staff. So, if you compromise those 2 key areas, administration and your academic staff or instructional staff that make up what a school is supposed to be, you are heading for a trouble. So over the years, yes, we've seen some challenge in administration and also instructional staff. This is not strange to you. Let me bring this to your notice. Around town, it is difficult to say you're going to have teachers on a full-time basis, even if you employ them as a full-time staff, they are not available for the full time. You will see most of them doing one or two other teaching in other areas, all right, which has been a big challenge for this for the school. Most of the teachers are either teaching at a second school and what have you. We think that has been a challenge over the years. Administration, let me say this without fear. For the very first time we took over as board members, we registered our concern on the leadership we saw at St. Peter's, starting from the principal to the least administrator in the school. But then what can we do? We've taken over an institution where we met people. And so we didn't want to be quick enough to say, no, we can't work with these people, we can't do this. So we allowed ourselves to work with them over the years up to this point, almost 3 years now, and see whether the school will be, the administration will be on top of things. But we've not seen that, all right? We've not seen that, and that doesn't mean that they have not been trying, but we think that to run a school, you must have the requisite administrators to help. The board cannot do administration work for the school. But I can tell you what, because I've availed myself, I have gone the extra mile, and some board member call me de facto principal, which it shouldn't be. But we offer to be there and just to cover up for some of the challenges we've seen in administration. Now, some of you guys may know St. Peter's in time past had a very good enrollment. We almost had 2 sections of every class in the school. But that has not been the case for the last 3 years we've been there. In fact, the enrollment has been dropping. Well, we can't be quick to attribute that only to lack of, strong administration. We know the economy in Liberia is very bad. So probably most people have chosen to send their children in the public school or whatever. But what I have said is that St. Peter's, no matter what happened, I think people are still willing to send their children to St. Peter's despite the economic situation. We must work to maintain our status. But the enrollment has been declining over the years. And if you ask what as a board have been doing, of late, we've had a discussion, some joint discussion with the school system, with the parish council, so that everybody can get on board. So it's no longer a board issue. In recent times, we had a joint meeting with the parish council to look into some of the challenges, all right? Some of the challenges facing the school. And so we've come to a point that we need to overhaul administrators.
Yep.
And
hello,
also,
excuse me, Mr. Brother Arthur.
Yeah.
Sorry for the interruption, but I think you were a bit cosmetic as it relates to adumbrating the challenges, and I'm not too sure the viewing public got you quite clearly in terms of the challenges. Yes, you laid a very good premise to say that the quality of the academic staff, as well as the competence and the effectiveness of the administration are two key factors. But I thought that before you start going into what you could do, you will try to assist us understand what were some of the challenges identified, before you start jumping to addressing the challenges. Firstly, we would like to know from the administration, what has been some of the issue? Has it been financial issue? Has it been the issue of competence or credential wise? When it comes to the issue of the staff, the academic staff, you mentioned just one. For example, you talk about the issue of some of them not being full-time. Yes, maybe because they have to make ends meet, and perhaps the salary being paid by the school is not sufficient to keep them in one place. All of these issues, I think you need to on them so we understand clearly what are the issues confronting you as the board, and then before we move on to what you, the board, as well as the parish council have decided to collaborate in trying to address the issues. So could you please elaborate some of the issue ranging from the academic staff, the quality of the academic staff, to the effectiveness and efficiency of the administrative staff?
So thank you. Maybe as you say, I'm trying to sugarcoat my description, but let me say this. All right. When I talk about challenges, in the first place, the credential of some of the administrators. Let me not just say all. Some of the administrators, and let me be clear to point out, for a principal of a high school like ours, all right, when we met the credential of the principal, we had a concern about that. We had a concern about that, and that has resulted in some of the poor quality, administrative quality of the school at this point. All right. So we think that we should overhaul, all right, the position of a principal. We think we need a more strong and experienced person that will carry the school forward from where we are now. Now, because of the weak, on-top administrator, there are some lapses. You mentioned about financial issues, all right? A school, a principal who is strong, who is sitting on top of a school, will not allow a school to run, graduate students, and fail to collect tuition. All right, that's a big lapse in administration, and that has affected the school so much. All right, so because of the weakness from the top, you have other lieutenants in the administration that are not performing up to task. So what I show up that as one of the measures I was trying to list is that working with the Power Council, we've recognized financial weakness in the running of the school, which has also compelled us to invite auditors to come and review the book of the school, and not just for this academic year. We have suggested as a goal for the last 3 years so that we can have a proper understanding of the financial running of the school, all right, which will give us a picture to further take some decision. We don't want to operate on speculation to say, oh, we think people are mismanaging funds or some corruption in the school. We want to have a backup by a recognized auditing firm that will come and audit the system, not just financial, but audit the system, financial records as whole. It will be a holistic audit of the school system. We think by doing that, we'll reveal some of the weaknesses in the school, which will inform us to take the next step. All right? If I'm fast to talk on that, but that's how we want to. But again, St. Peter's had not been without challenges, even though we are putting our effort as parish and as board, but we've reached to the point that we want to go a step further to review the system and come up with some recommendation or some findings that will direct the next course of action. Yeah.
Yep. There you have it, the voice of the chairman of the board of the St. Peter's Lutheran High School, a historical institution. Today we are spotlighting a pride of the Lutheran Church in Liberia. The St. Peter's Lutheran High School have existed for so many decades, have educated some of the best minds of our country, contributing to development both in the country and outside internationally. So it is a pride for us to be talking about our own, St. Peter's. It's good to have Jerry on, Ambassador. Good to have you, Willie. Folks, I'm so sorry, Brother Loryoun. I'm sorry I couldn't join you at the start of the conversation. Those pre-show conversations can be so interesting. But let me just say welcome to MLC Talk. It's good having you today. It's an honor for us. Jerry asked, he started a conversation with the one question that any of us will have asked, to tell us about, happenings at St. Peter's, the state of affairs at St. Peter's. And hearing from you talking about some administrative and financial weaknesses is a bit concerning, because that will have a direct impact on the educational outcome, the academic outcome, and as well as students' performance. That's what we're talking about here. So, but I was trying to get some basic information, because a conversation of this nature, when you are preparing for it, you need to have some information to your fingertip. I
Yeah.
try to search to inform myself before the show, but unfortunately, I could not find anything significant on the St. Peter's Lutheran High School. Here's an interesting fact. I
Yeah.
checked the Lutheran school system, the LSS, and you won't believe that when I checked the LSS page, the last post on that page was done on September 10, 2017. September 10, 2017. There is no up-to-date information on the LSS page, except if they have a duplicate page. So that just tells you how it's difficult to even access information on the school system. And I tried to research data on the different Lutheran schools through the LSS system. I could not find anything. The St. Peter's Lutheran High School, I could not also find any data in terms of current enrollment, in terms of the faculty, in terms of graduates, because those are basic information that anybody looking for information about the school, whether at home or abroad, they should readily find those kinds of information. If somebody wants to know the current enrollment of St. Peter's per class or per section, that should be readily available on the internet. And it will also interest you to know that St. Peter's Lutheran High School page on Facebook, except if they have a duplicate page, but their page, the last post was on April 17, 2022. And that post was about one big brabi, not even academic stuff, one big brabi, a show that they were promoting. That's what it was about. And when you look at the objective of the page, it tells you that this school is all about our high school days and to get friends from the St. Peter's Lutheran High School. So when you were talking about the weakness of the administration, I was looking at these basic things that really matter in terms of projecting the image of the school, because social media is powerful. And then you talk about the audit, the possible audit. I know you and I discussed that on the phone. And I will go ahead to say that, to say this to the public, that, hey, there's a lot of information out there about financial situation at St. Peter's. There are rumors that some embezzlement took place, mismanagement took place. But when I had a conversation with you, I got some understanding that actually some amounts have not been accounted for. And it is being accounted for in the financial report, attributed to uncollected amounts. And I'm glad you talk about it. But I want you to elaborate on this further to clear the air so that people who don't have the right information can get that information from you today. So I want you to take time to talk about the possible for the 3,000 United States dollars, that is out there. This is not any hidden information. It's already out there. So people can get the clarity that it is not established that this money was embezzled, but rather uncollected. And the audit will definitely establish whether or not it was misappropriated. So I would like for you to elaborate on that a little bit, sir.
Thank you, Audrey. So first, let me start with the earlier concern regarding RT. It's quite regrettable in the contemporary world in which we live. You cannot afford to stay behind in technology, all right? And so what you're talking about in terms of website, this is not to my knowledge. But I can say this, since we came on board, we've been working how to establish and improve on our communication out there. So we've started first with developing a web-based program that the administration is using to manage the finances, the enrollment, the grading, and even communicating to parents, all right, of students. So we call it school management, all right. We contracted an IT consultancy to set up that platform for the school. So one positive thing that we've done is the setting up of that school web. Parents can stay home and monitor their student progress in terms of school payment or even their grades, all right? Because their grades are uploaded and the parents have lucky information for their child, and they can go there and see if they stay home fee or they have paid their fee for their parents. They can see that information on the web, all right? And we can also communicate to parents if we were to call for a PTA meeting, go into the platform and send general communication to parents and inform them. We think that's a positive step along the way. If that system is managed well, we can easily see financial transaction or grading. And let me talk more about the grade aspect, the grade functionality of that web website. So when a teacher uploads their grade, they will not have access to it now. All right? They will not have access to that grade to avoid any potential change of grade just between teachers and students. When they upload that grade, that page will close to them. Right? Only be open to the super administrator of the platform. So we think these are check and balance means of running the school, and that has been coming well. If functionality of that web page will also allow us to improve on it, making a website available so that you can log in and see more information about the school. That's the next part of that web page that we've talked with the designer to add onto our school. They'll be gathering information to set up the web page. So it is our hope before the next academic year starts, we'll have this web page well designed, and our hope is that it will be active. But current website that you're talking about, I think is dormant. It's not official to me as a board chair, but we've been working behind the scenes to improve on our RT. Now, let me come to the issue of the funders you talk about. Yes, I'm aware that, again, I'm aware because the report came to the board, and then the administration reported on uncollected arrears or fees in the tune of 43,000 or so. So it was that prompted that, look, how can you run a school and you say this was uncollected? Then what are you running? And the school is only supported by fees, a tuition paid by parents. If you're reporting this, two things: either you fail to collect, or maybe your arithmetic is not correct. And so, for the past 3 years that we've served as board, we've always sent a report by for improvement and to check. And unfortunately, it will come by with concerns and concern after concern and this and that. So this time around, we said no. We either review the process. If somebody is failing to do the work, we take a decision. You quit or you stay and do the work. You cannot embarrass our school and running the school, and then you having this kind of funds that are not collected. And we are not even sure whether in subsequent year the arrears are collected. If they are collected, the mechanism of collecting arrears is now well established, and so we've reached to the point that we must review the records and come to a conclusion or a findings or recommendation as to the way forward. And I'm glad that we have the support of the parish council. We didn't want to work as a board alone. We are including the board, the parish council, executive, and also the school system, so that we can look at the school. Because the fact is that St. Peter's is the face of the Lutheran school system in Liberia, just as St. Peter's is the face of the Lutheran churches in Liberia. So we want to work with all stakeholders to put the record. I mean, you may say, why now? Well, why now? I can only say that better late than never. Before we can exit, we want to have the opportunity to conduct the audit, do all the findings, set the record straight, start on a new beginning. If we have to bring new human resource on board to properly manage the school, so be it. But all options are open to the board and the parish executive to ensure that St. Peter's is one of the best, if not the best, around town. Thank you.
That is an interesting account. 43,000 United States dollars reported in a financial report that you receive as uncollected amount. That is that is quite interesting, Mr.
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman.
yeah,
And I think everybody on this show today and our audience will
yeah,
laud you hardly for insisting that there must be an audit to be able to
yeah,
establish the fights that the circumstances around being unable to collect for the 3,000 United States dollars, some of which we understand students have graduated already. They
yeah,
did not pay. So those things, pose so many questions. How people will graduate without paying their fees, their tuitions, and it means that the school is operating on a deficit basis. I'm not a financial expert, but for the 3,000 is too huge for that school. You have to be talking about deficit. But is the
yeah.
school operating independently of the Lutheran school system? Is no longer
So,
under the Lutheran school system?
so let me say this. Since we came on board, one of the things we've been discussing with the school system is that to review the arrangement that we met in place before. Uh, you might be aware that some years back, the priorities need to control their own school in terms of managing the finance and in administration and whatever. Then another time, the LCL took that management aspect, all right, of the private schools and whatever. So upon coming on board of Reverend Eric Doe, so they saw the need that we go back to review the MOU between private schools and the school system. So we had that meeting in Totota, yes, in Totota, which the bishop was present in the review meeting of the MOU between the school system and the private school. So at that meeting, a decision was taken to give back the administrative aspect of the private schools back to parishes, meaning the parishes will now have direct control over the finances, while the school system remains as a supervisory role, all right, to set the
Okay,
standards.
all right, brother lawyer, that's good. That's the main thing I wanted to hear from you. So,
Okay, good.
comparatively,
Yeah,
brother lawyer, before my colleague
yeah,
can come, comparatively,
yeah,
what you are experiencing now financially, for example, like for 3,000 uncollected, when the
yeah.
school system was managing your finances, did you have any magnitude of deficit like that, uncollected amount of financial mismanagement like that? Did you have anything like that comparatively?
So this happened, this report served a period where the school system was still managing account of the school. All right. At the same time, the St. Peter's, let me describe the scenario how it was like. Fees were being collected and placed in an account that is controlled directly by the central office. The SCR, either the bishop, the general secretary, were signatory to that account, all right, where fees are paid. And the audit we're calling for will also extend to that level, to that period, where the
Oh,
account was being managed by the LCL, all right?
oh,
Because the fees were paid in that account where signatories from the central office were managing. All right. Now, the decision just happened about a few months back where the account management came back to the parish council. So we can expect that the audit will cover that period, and the amount that we're talking about also reflects in that account that is reserved. We call it the reserve account that is purely managed by the LCL office. So to do a comparison whether this happened during the taking over by the parish and that of the LCL, the both scenarios are also part of this audit, and the audit will only establish the fact where we started having some problems in terms of properly accounting for funds that are collected.
I'm going to my colleague now, Willie, but just the last thing you said, the latter part of your explanation that the audit is going to cover the period, part of the
Yeah.
period that the Lutheran school system was managing the account.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
sure,
yeah,
sure.
then it means that the audit is also going to touch on part of the audit that's going to be done by the Lutheran Church in Liberia that
Oh
is
yeah,
expected to go on. So
yeah.
this is an interesting scenario, but I will leave it right here for my round and then go to my colleague Willie, who is pretty seated, and I'm sure he has some questions. So Willie, over to you.
Thank you so much, Brother Joker, and thank you so much, Chairman Loryoun, for appearing today on MLC Talk. Um, just two questions quickly. One, how has the relationship been like with the school system and that of St. Peter's? Because the last time we had the director of the school system, and he was telling us that the school system is working in having things in place where in the schools where going to be um, structure under the school system, and some past some time past that there was some difficulties having schools cooperating or schools working with the school system. So I like to know the relationship, especially when you talked about going to the fact of audit. And then speaking of audit, I'm just a little concerned that the current administration, Bishop Patmo's administration, is currently working on audits, and there's some saying around some quarters that is like a witch hunt. So I hope your you know your thought or the board's action of doing an audit that will extend to the central administration will not be considered a witch hunt, you know and the perhaps I would just say B to the question is uh, later earlier on you talked about a platform. I tried looking up that platform, but I did not see the platform. Do you care to share the platform name so that we can look it up and see if we can kind of just display it, just to the progress that you talk about, the progress that you guys are making. I tried looking up the platform, but I could not find that platform. So if you could please just share the platform, and then one, don't you have any concern that this process will be considered as a witch hunt and your relationship with the Lutheran school system? Thank you so much.
So let me say this. First, let me start with the account. To be able to share with you, that may have to create credential for somebody to be able to log in. All right, and I don't want to temper with the call now, navigating through all the process now, but I
No,
can
no, no,
assure
no, no.
you.
Father, Chairman Loryoun, I
Yes.
just to know, for example, if it is like a portal, like for example, just St. Peter Lutheran High School.org or .com or .edu, something. If it is a portal that we could just show it, saying that this is how the portal looks like, not to log in. But if it has to do with credential or other issue, then we don't have to go into that.
Okay. So please let me promise that I can send that to you after the show. I'm not an IT specialist.
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah, no problem, no problem. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no
I
problem.
can
Thank you.
I can share that with the team after the call. I mean, trust me, I will do that. Okay.
Sure.
I will
Okay, okay,
certainly
thank you.
do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. Let me come to the point
Okay,
whether
thank you.
extending the audit to the level of the LCF. And let me make this correction. Uh, our request, our suggestion for audit is in no way attempting to audit the LCL. We are specific about including the account of the St. Peter's Lutheran High School that will be managed by the LCS Central Office. All right. I don't want to be here in
Right.
contempt. But
Willie, I'm not interrupting you, and Brother Loryoun, I'm not even attempting to interrupt you either. But the point is, I don't think you really owe us that kind of explanation because it's understandable. Once the
Okay.
LCL are managing your account and you are
Yeah.
doing an audit for the period
Right.
that you manage the account, it's obvious that the audit has to stretch to that level. Yes.
You are roll bush.
And
Okay.
Willie,
Yeah.
sorry, I just wanted to make that intervention, Willie. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
No,
Sure.
no,
So the
that's
other
fine. That's
Ambassador,
question
I
fine.
is
see
That's
you.
fine.
You are muted yourself.
Go
The
ahead, General
ambassador
Lawyer.
wants to say something. The ambassador
okay.
wants to say something. Ambassador,
Let me
please go
accept
ahead.
that correction. One, it was managed by the SCL, so I mean, they were involved. So the other will extend to that level, and that's all I can say. Now, talking about our relationship with the school system, I have no doubt that the school system wants to wants to run a very good, efficient, and effective school system. And so, for us on the board, I think we've pledged our loyalty to work with all stakeholders to improve on the Lutheran Church school system. We, 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 we stand by that, all right? And so we invite every stakeholder who are interested in making St. Peter's one of the best. Mind you, we are discussing about setting up a Lutheran university. St. Peter's Lutheran High School should be one of those schools that will be producing students for that university when it comes to being. So we want to be producing quality students that will end up in the Lutheran University to come up with flying colors. So we are very open and we are willing to coordinate and work with the school system. Up to this point, I have no doubt to say that we enjoy working with the school system. All right, we remain engaged with the school system. I see Reverend Doe very energetic, making sure that things improve for the better. And so the board of St. Peter's Lutheran High School is ever prepared to work with the school system to bring in about the necessary changes that will improve the school as a parish school. So I haven't seen any other picture whether they are not willing to work. We are willing to work. The relationship is cordial as far as I'm concerned. Of course, sometimes there will be some disagreement in certain issues, but that doesn't mean that we are not working together. We are prepared, we are open, and we invite. The director is always on the school campus, following up things with the administration and what have you. But one point that has not been forthcoming in the discussion of the MOU, it was stated that every parish school has a percentage or quota to support the school system, because we can't set up a system and then we as parishes do not support. So in that meeting, we agreed that certain percentage of actual collected per school, parish school should be remitted to the school system as a support to keep the secretariat running, to help them do their regular supervision, conduct some quality workshops for school administrators and what have you. We are prepared for that. But again, as we talk about seeing financial constraints, sometimes those commitments are not forthcoming here. And let me tell you, if funding are not coming as budgeted, the only thing you want to focus on to keep the school running, like you take care of the teacher's salary, make sure that you got instructional materials, all right? And if you run the school successfully, you are not indebted to employees, and then you got something to offer to as a contribution to the school system. So we are open as board to that. I saw my pastor coming shortly. I hope she can join the conversation. So for us, we enjoy the cooperation with the school system. We are prepared to go that direction. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much information. I will be going to my colleague, the ambassador, shortly, but let me just ask this question. Right, yeah, it might be seen as a trivial, question, but I'm still going to ask anyways.
Go ahead.
You've already taken the financial management aspect from the Lutheran school system. And I
Yes.
think what you were trying to do was just to pacify Reverend Doe that you're working
Yeah.
with him. And so what else is there for the LSS to manage when they have nothing to do with the finances? And the other question is, That's a real question,
Yeah.
Brother Lawyer. I think I was not just talking.
Yeah,
That's a real
it's
question.
me.
So I want you to note that.
Yeah.
The other question has to do with your quota to the Lutheran school system. Are you effective with it? Have you paid the last one, your quota, your contribution to, that according to the document, the agreement that, all schools supposed to pay to the LSS? Are you up to date with that one too?
So for the last quarter, that in fact since we took what we for this year, for this academic year, we have not remitted that, all stand for the bad financial study of the parish school. So, but that's something that we committed to do, and we're hoping that by the close of the academic year, the administration will review how well financially they perform, and then they can be in a position to remit whatever quota they are under obligation to remit to the school system to support. Now, what was the next one? Sorry, I'm just. Joseph, I can hear you.
Sorry, I was muted.
Yeah,
You took the financial management aspect
oh,
from
okay,
the.
yeah. Okay, thank you. So,
So
as I was trying
what
to
is there?
explain,
What is there
yeah.
for them to manage now? So I want you
So,
to be specific. If you can enumerate
so,
that the school
so,
system is
let,
responsible for
so
this
let me
and
say this
responsible for
from the
that.
discussion. Let me say this from the discussion of the review of the MOU. It was established that the school system will remain as that umbrella, supervisory umbrella, to supervise the adherence to standard as prescribed by the Ministry of Education. All right, to ensure that if you say this is how you evaluate teachers' performance or students, every school should comply to that. So the school is there to ensure adherence to standard
Yeah,
and
no.
policy. All right, and that's a big aspect of it. I think if they have the means to supervise effectively, all right, that will help the school system a lot. That will help improve the school. So taking financial, that's just a big portion of it, but there's still a big portion of it for the school system to ensure that every school under the Lutheran Church is operating based on standard as set by the Ministry of Education and even the school, the Lutheran school system. All right, you agree with me? As simple as it may sound, you go to some school, people got different uniform color, or student dress differently. Some girls will wear miniskirt and this and that. If you have an effective school monitoring system in place by the school system, you will not allow one school doing different thing, another one doing everybody, because the idea of establishing a school system was to have a uniform way of doing things as a Lutheran church in Liberia in terms of education.
Wonderful. Ambassador, it's over to you.
Thank you so much. And I think a lot is on the plate, and Brother Arthur Loryoun is trying so hard to navigate us through some of these turbulent waters, and I want to say thank you so much, Mr. Chairman of the board. But I got a simple question, and I heard you running through the effectiveness and of the school administration, and you were talking about some of the issues that you guys are trying to look at as challenge, and I thought that you didn't complete, and then we had to take you further to other questions. But I want to bring you back to the point. Just a simple question, very simple question in the first instance. Can you tell us, as the chairman of the board, uh, what is the credential of the highest and lowest credential that you know of in the administrative leg of the school, of the St. Peter's Lutheran High School? What is the highest credential there, and what is the lowest credential there, just for the administration? And your question would then propel me
So,
to ask the next substantive
so,
question.
so let me say this. The highest credential is BSc, the lowest is BSc in the realms of the administrators. All right? From the top to the least person in administration. So the highest credential is BSc and the lower is BSc. And let me be very frank to talk about the credential of the current principal without calling name. You would expect that
And before you continue to talk about the credential of the current principal without calling name, that means off record. Can you please tell us why you rubbing that in? Can you please rub this in or chime on it a bit? What are the rules in terms of the school board or the school system rather as it relates to recruiting a principal, for example, of a high school in the Lutheran school system? Just combine the two.
So to the best of my knowledge, I think the standard is that a BSc in education so far, all right, as to serve as principal. I may be wrong, I can review that record, but so far that's what I see. For the fact that the school system could employ that means that I think that's the highest maybe is required, all right? But let me come back when I was talking about having a top head of a school like St. Peter's Lutheran High School. I will not go for anything less than a master degree holder. You need somebody, a planner, a CC administrator, all right, somebody who able to manage projects. I tell you what, the school currently is going to be supported by tuition collected from parents. But if you have a very strong, experienced administrator with that qualification, you can have them planning projects to raise additional funding for the school. But that is lacking currently, all right? And I'm about to talk about a credential of a principal. As I can see now on the book, in fact, the principal does not have a credential in any of the social sciences to be maybe in management, all right, or whatever. Some school around town called Bible College, who some years back they said they're offering degree. I feel so ashamed to see credential as such to invite to be a principal of St. Peter's Lutheran High School. But we met it. Again, I want to avoid from discussing personality, but we're discussing the position. All right? If I'm to occupy that position with somebody, look at the school, I will not go for anything less than a master degree holder with some experience, I mean, in raising the school to a level to even be in the capacity to raise additional resources. Now, when we came on board, let me tell you this. Because of the gap, we met there were no vice principal for students affairs, there were no vice principal for administration. So in my own wisdom, before we get there, the advertisement has gone for some months and nobody applied. Probably because the salary being offered at that time was very low and I don't think anybody was prepared to take those kind of positions and you pay that amount. So they were advertised, nobody applied. They extended it to us salary, nobody applied. And then, but we needed to run the school. So we said, okay, let's re-advertise. We re-advertise the position within the church, and some young people apply. Very young with no experience, so to speak, in school administration, if I may say so. But then we look at ourselves, we've advertised, the church has advertised this, nobody has applied. Can we train up our own internal resource, human resource, that their capacity can be built over the years, and then they can serve our school, and in fact, the experience gained from their own school, they can go out there and serve. So we've been managing with the young people, 2 young persons that are added on to the administration, VP in administration, but the experience is not strong enough to rely on. That's why for us, we'll be advocating if we have the overhead administrator that is very strong, can serve as a mentor for these church brothers that were brought on board to fill in the gap. But if we have a challenge at the very top, then we'll have the blind leading the blind. So that's a scenario we've been faced with, and then we resulted in the situation that we come to a point, say, no, we have to take some drastic measures, review the system performance, audit the system performance and financial role, and see what decision we can come from it. One other key precedent is the vice principal for instruction, which like the second in command, because that's an academic institution. you would expect that a vice principal for instruction is as strong as the principal. But this time I'm talking about being on a job since August last year. The old man has fallen sick, all right, since August last year, and that position has been vacant up to this point. So we've been discussing with the school system how we can work around without, going against the labor practice as well. So we've been consulting legal-minded people and the school system how we can take care of that issue. This is a man who's been on a job for almost 6, 7, 8 months now. So that's one key personnel challenge that we have. The principal too has fallen sick for almost 4 months now. So the youngster that we have, they don't want to be managing the school. So it's a big challenge, my brothers. We must take the decision, we must go for a review the system and come up with some concrete suggestions how to move forward. I have told some people in the circle, if we can reach to that decision to revamp the administration, I think my cup is getting full. Because I can be there hoping to work with other board members to make it then administration is supposed to be like the engine of the school, and it's so weak and we don't have the requisite staff on board. I just want to lament on that further as we go. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Chairman.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Loryoun. And
before you
you were coming in. Go ahead, Ambassador.
Yes, I was coming in, Willie. I was coming in, Willie. Brother Arthur Loryoun struck some very significant chords. And right. you can already see the danger and how severely crippled the St. Peter's Lutheran High School is. Yeah. And for the fact that if you would take anything from his statement, the inexperience at the level of the administration is very key. But he just stated that he's working along with the council. And I think maybe after we recognize our viewer, then he will elaborate more on how are they intending to address some of these issues along with the school system and the council, because the council of the church, you understand, and has a kind of symbiotic relationship with the school, and almost like the umbilical cord of the school is tied in. And I'm speaking the language so you can understand because he got a medical background. The umbilical cord of that school system is tied in with that of the council, and the St. Peter's Lutheran Church is not short of scholars. So I don't know if nobody there that could be able to temporarily hold the fort for the love of the church and the school and integrity of the system until we can be able to get the right people. I mean, I'm just thinking aloud. But you will further elaborate when it comes to how are you guys intending to address these issues. But before we recognize the viewer, just Brother Arthur, one question on this audit. We saw newspaper articles, people writing all kinds of articles, and sometimes they don't even know how to title the article, and they write rubbish. They'll say, sorry if I will be too strong on this, but they come and say, so and so, for example, wish hunting accountability. I don't know how you wish hunt accountability. You understand that? Because people should understand that when you want to audit, you are not wish hunting. Auditing, putting it in perspective, I'm not a financial expert, but at least I've been around and I understand that when you're auditing, you're trying to make sure that you check the system and you see some fault and you try to improve on it. You're not wish hunting. So you are talking about audit. My question is, you also stated that it's going to extend to the former leadership. Are you anticipating working in tandem, sorry for the mispronunciation, with the Lutheran, with the LCL and the central administration of the LCL in conducting that, so we cannot have multiplicity of audit going on, or like you stated, you want to have your own audit, but then you involve those past administrators or those that monitor or work along with the account or manage the account. You will involve them into it. how are you guys intending to go about it is the question. Then we'll recognize our guests and we'll come back to the issue of pollution. Sorry, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you for the follow-up question. So let me say this. So be it if people will think that we're trying to sow seed of discord or witch hunting. That is never our intent, because we have passion for education and we want to do so in a very transparent and open manner way of doing things at the school. And again, what is also happening, you talk about newspaper publication. I saw one, the person could not even spell the name Arthur. So I just laugh at it, all right? So be it. If our integrity will be put on the line because we want to do the right thing, so be it. But again, let me reiterate that we are not sowing the seed of witch hunting. We want to assess our system. Again, all it is not just about finance. You want to assess, or you want to audit procedure, guidelines, what are in place to make sure that this is moved from year to year. Okay, you could do all your financial transactions clearly, but then the system that leads to you performing those, carrying on those transactions, if they are questionable, you want to suggest a better way to do it. All right. So other thing is, for me, it's not just witch hunting, or we're not saying that any malpractice go on, but we want to have an idea. We want to ensure that we are in line with international best practices. And that's the overall intent of us suggesting as a goal that we want to audit the system. And we stand by that. If we step on somebody's toe, we are prepared to say sorry and explain to them that it was never our intention to step on your toe, but to step on systems and procedures that may not be well, and findings and suggestions will put us on the right track to do the right thing. So what are we doing now to curtail most of the things? Let me inform you through this platform that we are very close to making some tangible decisions to bring somebody on board as a support team at the school, work along with the current administrators that we have, so that by the time we are going to the next academic year, we will be in a better position in terms of administration of the school. We don't want to enter the new academic year with this problem. So our target, we set our target to resolve some of these critical challenges before opening for the next academic year. And I have the support of the Parish Council,
Brother Willie, sorry, and brother Loryoun, I don't want to lose my thought. That's why I'm coming in here. When you talk about bringing somebody to work along with the administrative thing from now to now to next year, next academic year, you know, when I was doing election, we used to call it counterpart. Where Liberia conducting election, for example, will bring counterparts from other electoral commissions, you know, who are very versed in elections, experienced in elections, to come and work along. So are you going to bring counterpart administrators to work along with the current administrators, and they could eventually take over? Is that the scenario?
That's the intent. That's the intent. Yeah.
So you are indirectly undoing the current administration. Is that consistent with the procedure layout by the standards?
Well, again, as I said in my earlier statement, we don't want to go against any labor practice here. So we are doing this systematically in consultation with people who got legal mind or experience in managing labor issue, and at the same time ensuring that our school does not continue this path. All right. So we want to bring someone on board that will work with the current, if not already administrator, a season or somebody who we think will be able to help us to move in a direction. We'll work with the administrators, and then the intent is that we'll work with that. A person work with the administration to the point that we'll take the decision whether to maintain what we have on hand or to change. All right. And again,
brother Loryoun, you know, you to call a spade spade. You have hiring policies, hiring standards. If the current administrators are not performing,
let me end.
why not fire them and
Let me
replace
end.
them in keeping with the hiring standards?
Yes. Let me end this.
Okay.
Before reaching to that point, we should have a sufficient evidence. All right. We don't want to do it on sentiment. That's why I'm hoping that the audit will bring us some findings and some suggestions. Who knows? Maybe some of the suggestions will point in that direction. Also, we are working with the school system to see if it is possible that we can do some early retirement or look for some package and tell certain people think that because of health condition or this and that, we think that we should reach to the point to take the decision that we step aside. And the options are all open, all right? And I don't want to have a straight jacket here to tell you that, but the process will lead us taking that final decision. But what I can say now, we are close to having somebody that will work with the administration that will show the direction where we're going. But options are there. All options are on the table. Thank you.
Right. Once your options are consistent with established policies, there should be no issue. And I know that the human star will always be there. You don't want to be having issues with people that you serve with, your brothers and sisters in Christendom. Sometimes it has a direct impact on the decisions that you make. But I mean, you have established hiring policies, and for me, if I'm in authority and you're not performing, either we ask you to resign, and if you don't resign, we fire you and replace you. Because we need that performance, we need that efficiency in the institution to be able to achieve the academic outcome that we expect. But Brother Loryoun, thank you so much. We will go over to our brother Willie, who is impatiently seated and need to recognize our viewers today, the questions and the comments.
Yeah, absolutely, Brother Joker. It's because of these people that we sacrifice to also be here every Sunday. Before I recognize our viewers, I also want to wish you happy Easter because you were not here from the beginning of our program. Um, Christ is risen indeed. So, what happy? But Chairman Lawyer, you see what I can be going through here? But
Jared,
anyway,
the man
I
is
want to
specific
recognize.
wishing me happy Easter. So I appreciate it. And then he laughing
No,
again.
you were not here.
No,
You
no,
were not at the
you
start
see,
of the show.
I didn't argue.
no, I understand. I understand why he's laughing. Don't Joe. That let me just go ahead to recognize the guest. We're coming back to here. I understand. You're preparing for
All
a
right.
big
You know
article.
what? I will recognize our mother, Victoria Nangbe Johnson, and I understand she's from Bannersville or St. Peters. No, she's from St. Peters Parish. I understand that she's from St. Peters, and also
Well, I'm a big sister there. Why you want to forcibly push her over to Bannersville?
no, she's from Peters, St. Peters. No, I listen. I quickly did a 360. She's from St. Peters, St. Peters.
Okay.
And also speaking of St. Peters, we have a mother Koyon. She's also from St. Peters. Okay, so the chairman brought all of the people here today. All the St. Peters people are here, but now this guy is not from St. Peters. This is one of our partners, Brother Moses Cole. He's one of the youngest CEOs in Liberia, CEO of the ITV platform. So brother Moses Cole want to say welcome, and also our brother Elijah Zina. Okay, brother Elijah Zina is here, and he's following us from Minneapolis. He says that the St. Peter's Lutheran School is currently at its of lows. Wow. Fundings and human resources at the minimum. I understand the frustration of the school board chair. There is a need for human resource development at the school. Thank you so much, brother Elijah. And our sister, this is our sister in St. Matthew's Lutheran Parish, and the wealth of Brother Benedict
Ambassador, we
Chakula
got to try to bring
Mamolba.
Sis Marlin on
And
one of these days. So, she's the former bishop secretary. She needs to come and
yeah,
make us understand what it means to be, the bishop secretary, what it entails, the role, the
Yep.
contribution. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
Yep.
serving in such
Yep.
position. Yeah, yeah.
Yep. You guys, please leave my sister-in-law. She's not here for the
Oh,
whole of
Oh.
Let my sister-in-law have peace for mine. Just kidding.
Speaking also of St. Peter's, this is Brother Larry Merlin. If you talk about St. Peter's Lutheran Church, St. Peter's Parish, the name Larry Merlin is a household name. So we want to recognize our Larry Merlin, and also our father from St. Louis, a regular
oh
from
yes.
K Sumo. Yes, from St. Louis. And our brother
He
Elijah
is
is back
constant. He's
again.
constant like the
Brother
Northern
Elijah
Star.
says, yes, yes. Brother Elijah says, thank you, Chairman Loryoun, for initiating this audit. People must be accountable, play in a position of trust. So,
Yeah.
Brother Loryoun, without fear or favor, I know that an audit. I mean, you are not moved by any other article, so that will be coming up. And quickly, we want to. Okay, I want to recognize the senior parish pastor, the
Oh,
Reverend
big
Janice
sister,
Gono.
Reverend
Yes,
Janice Gono is
she is
watching.
following. I mean, everybody that is related to the B sister, B auntie, this is our parish pastor, the Reverend Janice Gono. Yes,
The man on you today,
yes.
Joe.
So we,
And
we
you
want to
can join the man.
recognize that. No, I want him today. Yeah, and also speaking of St. Peter's, again, Brother Larry Merlin, he say a big challenge indeed, Brother Arthur Loryoun, but with the support can pull back on. Speaking of putting the school back on track, I mean, when we talk about St. Peter's Lutheran High
Yeah.
School, I think it reminds me of certain uh, 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 people, or I would even go to say some Lutherans that
Willie,
really
I got a
attended this
joke.
school and were
Willie, I
very
got a
proud when we
joke
saw
for
them
St.
in the
Peter's
uniform.
Lutheran High School. I will share with you guys. I got a joke. I will share with Chairman Loryoun, and I think he won't
Right.
stop laughing.
So
I will appreciate that.
there are a few people I just want to recognize them when we for St. Peter's High School. I want to recognize Brother Jusu Gore. Jusu Gore went to St. Peter's Lutheran High School, and I believe he
Right.
graduated from St. Peter's. Then talking about Brother BM Molba, Sumo Molba. I remember these guys were at St. Peter's High School. They sat on the quizzing team. St. Peter's was like up there. And also Brother Elijah Zina attended St. Peter's, St. Peter's Lutheran High School. And then when we had administrators like, Sarah, it really, saddens my heart when we are hearing such a thing about St. Peter's. But you know what? I'm glad that we have such a very strong, very, very strong, and in my Trump voice, I would say strong cookie Arthur Loryoun, steering the chairmanship of the board. So again, I want to recognize all of our viewers who say thank you very much. Keep your comments coming, and Big Joe is over to you.
Oh, thank you, Willie. Thanks for the recognition. And talking about recognition, Ambassador, do you want to extend recognition to our colleagues there in Zambia, in Australia, in Nigeria, and other places?
Oh yes, why not? I mean, I just want to join our brother Owedi to say we are very happy that our platform is extended as far as Nigeria. Brother Akoyawa, Joe, you know that name very well.
Yeah, Akawaya Jackson.
And to other part, Jackson Akoyawa, yeah, and other part of the continents in Europe, Asia. We are just happy for the wonderful people that are following. And let me just say something. One of our brothers, I think from Europe, who I don't know if he's still our pastor, but I will be quick to say one of our pastors contacted me and said, "Look, my man, this show is going wild, and sometimes we sit in our corner and we follow and you guys are making a lot of sacrifices, every Sunday to be there to make sure you give us information. And despite the fact I'm in Asia, but at least I still follow and feel at home just from my Lutheran connection or the MLC talk coming into my parlor or in my living room, and I listen to everything that goes on in the church, and I'm not missing anything. So, guys, it's a part of our back, and with God being our helper, I think we will continue to serve our people. Just opening the space and the platform for people like Arthur Loryoun to
Yep.
come on to say
Yep.
about our school system, for
Yep.
our bishop to regularly update us, and many other people who want to take advantage. And our platform is open. It's for all Lutheran, and we will never attempt to wish harm, and we
Right.
are not there to wish harm.
Right.
So they can come up with the article, whatsoever way they want to come up with the article, that's fine. They can mention the Lutheran connection talk in the article, fine. But we open the space. Had it not been for this platform, many things we know it now, we would have known it before. Yeah. So Joe, thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Ambassador, you got it
Hey,
right. And
Bijo,
yeah, Willie, go ahead.
Bijo, sorry to interrupt. I just want to recognize one of our viewers there, a new viewer. He's there in Adamawa State, Nigeria. Pastor Yakubu.
Yeah.
Pastor
Yakubu.
Yakubu from Adamawa State. He's a Lutheran in Adamawa State. You want to recognize him. Thank you.
Yeah, we gotta try to see if we can bring some of our international colleagues on board, at least to come one day. Let us just share. Let's have a round table with them. Like our brother in Lusaka, Zambia, Ambassador, we can bring him on. We can bring Jason Akawaya on. They sit with us on the show and we all talk, because they're doing their best to relay the show in those countries. This is what we call Lutheranism. Yeah, and it's very important for information sharing. This is good for us, Lutheran. You are turned into MLC Talk. We come to you at this time every Sunday on your favorite network, My Lutheran Connections Online TV. Today we are in the company of the board chair of the St. Peter's Lutheran High School, Brother Arthur Loryoun. He's really making us to understand the state of affairs at the school, talking about performance, talking about the capabilities of the administration at the school, the faculty, and just across anything you can think about that contributes to achieving, accomplishing the best academic outcome. He's here today sharing with us. We are very glad to have Brother Loryoun making the sacrifice. I learned he traveled from Monrovia to Banga, but he's on the phone with us tonight.
Yes.
We really appreciate Brother Loryoun. This information, you may not believe it, you are making a very big impact, talking about a historic school like St. Peter's. St. Peter is a pride of the Lutheran Church. Not only that, but it is one of the leading schools in the Republic.
Yes. Quickly, George Toto is complaining that Willie does not want to recognize him because he's a Democrat, and
I want to recognize Brother George. Let me recognize it quickly. I want to recognize Dr. George Toto, the Liberian Lutheran, Republican. They're in Pittsburgh. I want to recognize Dr. George Toto.
Dr. Toto, we recognize you. You are most welcome. This is your show, and again, it's a big pride of Brother Loryoun. We are having the International African Lutheran conference taking place in Liberia. This is huge. It's a pride for us. We are so pleased to be talking about it as well on this network. This is an honor for all of us. But Brother Loryoun is a big challenge. It's not a small thing. The ambassador highlighted it, the audit that you are going to do. We hope you will be steadfast to make sure that it goes on unabated. It has to go on uninterrupted because you are looking at 3 years back, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
And the 3 years extend to the period of the mandate of the Lutheran school system, also supervising the account of St. Peter's, right?
Yes, sure.
Okay, that's very great. So it means that it's going to run.
we also communicated the intent with the school system. So they are quite aware that we are initiating the process so that everybody can be on board. So yes.
Right. One question, one gray area that has not been clarified. Ambassador asked that question. Are you doing this in tandem with the St. Peter's Lutheran Church, the administration, the clergy? Is everybody on board? I remember the ambassador asked that question. And maybe you could just elaborate on that a little bit, specifically with the decision of the audit.
Yes. So it's every stakeholder involved in the decision. So the parish council, the school board, the administration of the school, and the school system all are well, and we are initiating the process. So yes, that's it.
That is wonderful. So Ambassador, there you have it. I think Brother Loryoun got this all set up. You heard him. He just said the entire St. Peter's Lutheran family. That means the church, the school, everybody is on board. And this has been communicated also to the national leadership. It's obvious they have to, because part of the audit will cover years of the mandate of the Lutheran school system. So it looks like this is all set up and ready to go. I think this is leadership right there. Ambassador, what do you think?
Yeah, I really want to congratulate the board chair, and like all of us, we know that we find pride in the St. Peter's Lutheran High School, and we share the frustration of the board chair. So I think it's a very good initiative. Except that I would just want to know from the board chair, with the exception of the audit and with the exception of what you described, Joe, as the counterpart administration that should be understudying the current administration. What other steps have been taken in the short to medium time as it relates to addressing the chronic situation of ineffectiveness and maybe, for a better word to say, the competency issue? What the short to medium term steps that you've already put in place to address that situation? Because if the administration is being run by few young, inexperienced lads, then there's a very big issue for a serious academic institution, secondary school in the Lutheran Church in Liberia. So what is your short or medium term steps you have taken to address that particular situation?
Right.
Okay, so thank you. So as a short-term arrangement, just to ensure that the school is up and running, that's what I told. We are very close to bringing somebody on board to support the administration, and then assessing all of the feasibilities, all right, to make an informed decision going on. So that's one key immediate step that we are taking. Second, we also, within the cycle of the church, we've identified one or two persons that will on the regular basis stop by, all right, and review processing at the school, all right, ensuring that nothing further damaging is happening. We took that decision again with doing a discussion with the parish so that we can identify some persons who have the time will stop at the school and inspect the way things are going and make sure that we are on the right path, addressing some of the concerns that have already been raised while we await the audit to be conducted. So in terms of long term, we can only hope that after the audit shall have been conducted and findings are made available, suggestions are made, we believe that those findings and suggestions will put us in a better position to develop a long-term strategic plan. All right, a strategic plan, considering some of the findings and suggestions that will come out of the audit, to put a plan together that will take the school from point A to point B or C in terms of improving the quality of education, the quality of administration, the caliber of students to manage at the school. You will agree with me, nowadays students are very stubborn. They are not like you and I, who were in school, who were after really learning and coming with flying colors. But most of the students these days, they don't want the year to come to an end and tell them you are promoted. All right. So how to manage those kind of students we now have? It takes a very strong, effective, and efficient administration to be able to cope with the challenges that come from even the students that are in the school. So we expect that this audit will do wonderful things for us. Develop a plan to address the challenges that will be identified, put a plan together that will improve the school. We cannot afford to be missing the opportunity that the school has to offer. Our dealer locator, we're not renting in a building, is the building was constructed with the mindset that this is a facility for education. I can see around some buildings are rented and people are using it for schools. All right. And sometimes I'm jealous. Some of them, my kids, some of the school they attended before, it was rented building. But the school fees are so huge. Then I look back at my own school, I said, look, we have a well-structured building. Why can't we put it in a position that some of the schools are, so that some of us will not be obliged to send our kids in other school rather than bring them back home? And that's the ambition. That's some of the mission. That was some of the desire we have. We will talk about, say, look, we will work as if we are working to improve a system that my own kids can come there and learn and come out with flying color. That's the personal opinion and desire that I have. That St. Peter's will grow, improve, that my kids can come back home and attend my own Lutheran school. That's my personal conviction. And I look forward to working with all stakeholders. Even though this is not my concluding statement, but I just wanted to flag that so that I cannot forget to see the gravity of interest that we have to work with people to improve the school system. It's a blessing in disguise for the Lutheran Church in Liberia. And we all must work to ensure that we make St. Peter's that which we want it to be.
Yeah. Ambassador, I just wanted to chip in here a
one
little
more
bit.
thing. Okay, Joe. Go ahead.
Right. And,
Go ahead,
and Brother Loryoun, I think we are also missing one big piece of the pie. And this could be maybe a recommendation or an advice for consideration. You can consider this on an advice. I taught at St. Peter's Lutheran High School, and I started teaching there from 1999. That's the joke I wanted to share with you. But here is the context. I think part of the problem has to do with your remuneration scheme, with your salary scheme, because quality is costly. You don't expect qualified individuals to run to the St. Peter's Lutheran High School on the kind of salary structure that you have. I think that has to be studied. And that will require a comprehensive assessment. You need a professional to conduct an assessment. You have to do a SWOT analysis. You've already given some of the weaknesses in terms of the administrative and the financial. But there is a fundamental question. So what is contributing to the administrative weakness? Are you providing everything that the administrators need, that the faculty need, to ensure job satisfaction so that you can get optimum performance? An assessment has to be done. There has to be a SWOT analysis in addition to the audit. The audit cannot solve that technical problem. The audit cannot solve that because the focus of the audit is going to be financial. So you need a technical assessment and you need a professional to do a complete SWOT analysis of the institution. What are the strengths of the institution, the weaknesses of the institution, the opportunities that you have, and then if that is done, you will get to understand why people are not attracted to your hiring ads, to your opportunities, your offers, the right people. Because when you explain about how you got the principal, I was like, wow, because you did 360, but still you could not get the rightful person, the right fit. And you need people with the technical and the cultural fit. to be able to serve in that kind of position, especially at the highest level. So I am just saying that so that you can consider that as you are doing a complete system upgrade, the
So,
administration, the finances, and everything. Your thoughts on that?
but thank you, Josiah. Thank you. Let me say this. Prior to coming to the decision to go for an audit,
Mhm.
we have made an arrangement to call some group of professionals who
Mhm.
got experience in assessing academic institutions.
Mhm.
And one of our own brothers who we thought had experience in that direction was Aloysius Taylor.
Mhm.
Aloysius Taylor has a group of consultants working together. So we approached them to do a comprehensive assessment of the management system of the school. All right. We were in that discussion, we went far with that. And then the issue, because that assessment, we didn't want them to go in depth with financial matters because they might not be versed in that direction, but they will concentrate on system assessment and approaches. All right. So we expect them to do a little on finance, but then we reached to the point we said, no, we also have to look at the aspect of finance in depth. So the only way we'll have some buy-in, some legitimacy in the process is to invite a recognized auditing firm which will have more weight into the job required, all right, to give us a standardized finding that we can use as a working tool. So we said, no, we'll hold on this system assessment that we've approached Aloysius Taylor and his group with, and then conduct this audit. And also in the TOR for the auditor, we've structured in a way that the first only will be looking at the financial system and also, but for the financial system to work, you also have to look at other procedures, other standards that need to be in place to make sure that that financial procedure or management is working. So in this audit that we're going for now, we also have to do a system assessment as well. When this finding come out, if we don't have in-depth finding in terms of the system strengthening, probably we'll have to call an expert in that direction specifically to see, to guide us how to structure our strategic plan that we envisage, how we can structure in the way that it will address some of the challenges that will be identified. But yes, we do recognize that, and that's the way we want to go once we have this finding for the first process. Thank you.
Wonderful. We've had Ambassador. We've had Brother Loryoun on for 1 hour 37 minutes now. I think we can wrap up in the next 5 minutes. Go to Brother Loryoun and take his parting comments. He has done extremely well. I think we've done 360 degrees here. Brother Loryoun, I mean, it couldn't have been any better.
So Dr. Toto is asking how often do we carry on some training? So to just answer your question, I know before the beginning of every academic year, we have this training section for the instructional staff. We call some experts in curriculum development and school administration experts come and have a day or two training sessions with the instructional staff. And that is done at the beginning of every academic year. All right? But again, if we are to improve on the performance of a lot of things, we will have to double that. And again, probably the funding will pick that up to see that to address some of the things, we have to increase the number of training sections we have and whatever. But since we came on board, we were privileged to have benefited arrangement from our former associate pastor, Kennedy G. All right, he connected the school with some experts from the state who were visiting Liberia. He conducted a training section for our instructional staff, which are very wonderful. All right, and the staff really appreciated our training, those training sections that the school benefited at the support from Kennedy G. So again, our desire is to do more training sessions for the instructional staff and whatever. And also performance evaluation. We noticed that is not happening. And I told you about the absence of the instructional vice principal for instruction. to even assess the teacher's performance. The administrator who's supposed to do that is absent. How can you even adequately assess the performance of the instructional staff? So these challenges are there. We can't allow these challenges to keep us down. We have to rise above these challenges and collectively find solutions to it to bring back St. Peter's to pre-war status.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So you were responding to Dr. Toto's comment. Probably we can take your parting comments now, and then we'll go over to our colleague, Jerry. Before we go to Jerry, I will do mine, and then once we go to Jerry, he will just end the show. So over to you, Brother Loryoun, your parting comment.
Thank you. Let me say this. Despite all of the challenges we've listed, I believe, strongly believe, working together can make a huge difference in changing the direction of the school for the better. To be able to do this, there are several factors to consider. It will interest you to note that this school, as ours, St. Peter's, is only managed, run by tuition collected from parents or from students. That means if you have low enrollment, the school is at risk. You will not have low enrollment and say, let me reduce the instructional staff. Then you make it a matter worse. Once you have low enrollment, you are under obligation to maintain the quality and the caliber of teachers to keep the academic institution running. So it's a big challenge, all right? So we must employ all means to keep the standard, to increase enrollment, since for now, that's the only source of income for the running of the school. And that is why we want to invite every stakeholder to take St. Peter's idea. Every opportunity, we need your connections, your resources, your suggestions, how we can all work together and make St. Peter's what it is. The school depends only on tuition. That means it's a big risk. And it will also interest you to know that having operated the school for years, you would expect that there is some overhead funding somewhere.
Right.
In case of emergency, you go there for school development or to solve some emergency problem. But that's not the case.
Really?
In fact, to the best of my knowledge, the school will run at the end of the academic year. They say they apportion remaining funding for school development and this and that. That's one of the issues we raised, all right, which was the bad practice. You have to maintain overhead cut in case of emergency. Look at the case of St. Matthew's School when the school got burned. If you don't have some savings somewhere, you cannot intervene in the kind of an issue. So the school will be closed until, if the school burn, how will you even have students to pay tuition to reopen the school? So the issue of overhead saving in a reserve account is very critical. All right? Very critical. So we really highlighted that as one key factor to consider. If the school must be sustainable, we must revive the management funding to reserve some and then explore other avenues how we can have additional revenue coming other than just tuition. Now we are in a predicament. Enrollment has dropped. We have to maintain the workload, the instructional workload, and pay them. If nothing else coming, we are in a big dilemma. So I want to end that and by saying thank you for offering me the opportunity for my voice to be heard on issues that I know to the best of my ability, and also relying on your suggestions, your guidance, so that we can make the best offer that we have to offer while we stay around serving our school. I want to thank you, and thank you to the listening audience. We always find pleasure in coming back to make further contributions to the show. Thank you.
Absolutely. From my end, before I go to my colleague, Ambassador, who will end the show for tonight, I just want to say thank you, Brother Loryoun. It's been an honor having you, conversing with you on such an important matter, talking about education. Education is very critical right now to the forward march of our country. The men and women that you are developing at St. Peter's are the future leaders of our country. So conversing with you on such an important topic. I mean, it's an honor for us at MLC, at my Lutheran Connections online TV. And so you have initiated something very big, an audit that's going to be happening, meaning that
Yeah.
you are going to be coming here quite often
Yeah,
and
sure.
talking about the audit on one hand, and then
Yeah.
on the other hand, talking about system improvement, talking about the
Yes.
administration, the finances, and talking about steps you are taking to
Yeah.
attract professionals to the institution so that it
Mhm.
helps us to achieve the desired academic outcomes. So it was really an honor having you, and I will share the joke with you now. You know, I talk about teaching at St. Peter's from 1999, few years up to 2002, and at that time, Sarah Taylor, Mistress Taylor,
Yeah.
was the principal. And you
Yeah.
can imagine those were booming days at St. Peter's. And
Mhm.
interestingly, somebody like me was being paid $1,250, and and we had JJ at that time, and then the
Yeah.
Liberty came in,
Yeah.
and so it was tough, and
Yeah.
we mustered the courage as teachers. There were a few of us who
Yeah.
were considered hardliners. We mobilized our colleagues. That time you had the late Gizzy, peace to
Yeah.
his ashes. He was teaching physics, and then you
Mhm.
had Edwin Johnson, who was
Yeah.
also teaching history. Josiah George, who is now the Surgeon General
Yeah.
in the country, Liberia, he was also teaching biology. Those are all colleagues of mine.
Yeah.
We all worked together as St. Peter's. At that time, you had a strong faculty,
Yeah.
but the salary was not encouraging at all. And
No.
one of the motivations we had was that one, it was our church institution. Two, we were all in school. Gisi was still at the University of Liberia. I was at the University of Liberia. Josiah George was at the University of Liberia. He had matriculated to the medical school. And Edwin Johnson also was pursuing his degree. And we were using that basically to pay for our education, whatever we're receiving. It was very insignificant, but we're using it to pay for our education at the University of Liberia, also contributing to our church. But
Yeah.
howbeit, we all met and decided that, hey, this is labor abuse. We have to sit with the board and encourage the board to increase our salaries. So
Yeah.
we wrote the letter beautifully. Everybody was hot. I mean, we were hot. Everybody was excited about it. But then when the day came, the board accepted to meet with us. At that time, I think it was Winder who was the board chair. When the board
Yeah.
decided to meet with us, uh, everybody declined to read our position. So everybody declined. Nobody wanted to be fired, some really.
Yeah.
So I took the challenge. I said, guys, I will present our statement to the board. And when we met with the board, and I presented a statement and provided a justification for increment in our salaries to commensurate our workload, the task. And then the next thing that we heard was that they were going to ask some teachers to resign because at that time they were running both AM and PM sections, and some of the teachers had offered to teach in both sections, so they did not need teachers for each section separately. So we knew that our call led to that, and that was so serious to the extent that everybody that I named resigned at that time, including Sarah Taylor. When every one of us left, Sarah Taylor had to follow. She was constrained to also resign. And I think you know some of that story as well. So, what is the moral of this story? As board chair, you need to go back to the drawing board to review your salary structure, your remuneration system. You need to look at that. It also have a role to play in attracting the kinds of professionals that you need to help us to achieve the desired academic outcome. And I like the fact that you're doing a comprehensive audit. You're doing both financial and technical. So I think the
Yeah.
audit will cover some of the technical areas. But if you still need additional assessment after the audit, if it is not satisfactory, in terms of the outcome, you will have to hire the services of professionals to do a comprehensive assessment and provide you with recommendations that will help to move St. Peter's forward. I am taking this time to close because St. Peter is closer to my heart. It's home. I'm talking about home. So that interests me most to talk about, but it's been really answering our invite. Ambassador, it's over to you. Ambassador, before you come with that big news, Reverend Janice Gono is coming next Sunday. Reverend Janice Gono is coming next Sunday to talk about her experience so far at St. Peter since she took over. She will be sitting with us. So yeah, go ahead, Brother Loryoun, and then Jerry can end.
Yeah, before the ambassador, I might have forgot to mention about the salary issue. Since we got on board, we've been able to do an increment of about 15% so far, all right, with salary. And I mean, there's no doubt when you talk about Josiah, that's a problem of the matter. If people are not motivated to solve the other problem, can be very difficult. Imagine you got a caliber of instructional staff, and then you pay $1,000, which is just about $7 a day. I mean, it's a big sacrifice. So
$1,250.
Yeah. So the issue of discussing the revenue base of the school, as well as addressing the academic challenges, they all go together. All right. You cannot be discussing academic then you're not addressing the motivation of the staff. So yeah, so far we'll be able to take it from worse to a better position. I know salary issue are never perfect, are never 100% satisfactory, but it's key in the minds of the board members and other key stakeholders that if we are to address this, we must also be looking at the issue of salary and motivating the instructional staff. So I mean that message is well resonated in my mind as a key stakeholder in this. So thank you.
Right. Okay, Ambassador, over to you.
So we want to say thank you so much. We want to say thank you so much to our chair of the board, Brother Arthur Loryoun. We also want to extend our appreciation to Brother Willie Cowboy, who had to leave for some family engagement, and of course, Big Joe, who has all of the critical questions that have been raised. And I think in there we got some recommendations that have also been proffered that Brother Loryoun is taking on board, and we hope that St. Peter's Lutheran High School will come back to its, if I would say pre-war status, where we had strong administrators, where we have strong faculties, and then we also will be happy if we be able to, we also will be happy if we can hear that our students are not transitioning from the white bowl. I don't know if you got black bowl, chalk bowl, or white bowl, up to the using the computer keyboard in the computer itself. Yeah, so we even got to try to transition now from the white bowl to the keyboard of the computer and the computer itself. So you got a lot to do going forward because we are in fact, we have evolved from the computer age now to the telephone age. We got some of the kids who don't even know how to operate computers, who don't even know how to warm boot or cold boot computers, but they know how to unlock your telephone. But we got to bring them back because that's the fundamental. If you want a very good job, you need to be computer literate. And how are we offering some of those, extracurricular, if I may, extracurricular activity to get our students up to par? These are the quality parents will be looking for to send the kids to school, regardless of how much you will be charging to pay. If you're talking about having a computer lab, the computer lab should be very effective. It should be very efficient. You understand? And all of the different laboratory, the science laboratory, and the library itself to have recent books, articles of some of Josiah writing articles. Josiah writing some books. You got Kedor writing some books. Some of us writing articles. These are issues on Liberia and other places. It can be placed in the library for our kids to start reading. We got to start promoting ourselves, So these are some of the issues we're just trying to recommend. I want to say thank you so much. And we're looking forward to hearing from you. How far we are with the audit, and that Joseph will bring you from time to time so that we can get more information on the steps they have taken in solving some of the problems, and especially the issue of the audit. But again, we remind you, just don't get distracted, because articles will come. If you follow the articles, you will get distracted. Once you are on the right trajectory, please remain on that trajectory, and let us make sure that we go for professional accountability in the Lutheran Church in Liberia, and also the St. Peter's Lutheran High School. To our viewers, we want to say thank you very, very much for following.